Treaty Principles Bill arrived at Parliament yesterday, debated next week, then sent off to Select Committee. Nothing the government has done has created more angst than this. Of course, the ACT Party leaders behind it, David Seymour's with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Is what we've seen so far your inability to explain it clearly, or they just don't like it and that's that?
Oh, I think it's very clear that more and more people see this is an initiative that promotes equal rights. In fact, if this country is about anything, it is about the idea that no matter who you are or where you're from, you get a fair go at life. And the people that don't like it are simultaneously saying that the debate is going nowhere, but also that it must be stopped before it goes anywhere. And that's because ultimately we are democratising the treaty. We're saying anyone can have a say on our constitutional future. You won't be shouted down because you're not an expert or you're the wrong kind of person or you're racist or anything like that. What we're seeing is people that don't really know how to respond to the treaty being democratised.
What I don't understand, and I think most people listening to this would be on your side broadly speaking, having read what you put forward yesterday wasn't dramatically different from what you put forward in the first place, and I think most of us understand that, you know, if we can all be equal, that would be fantastic, and the courts are interventionist, and that's a problem. Here's the difficulty you face. How is it you couldn't get National across the line on this? Why is it dead, essentially?
I think the National Party are afraid of taking on hard issues. That's why I never joined the National Party. That's why I believe we need ACT. It is difficult because over the last 48 years since the Treaty of Waitangi Act was passed, the courts, the Waitangi Tribunal and so on have built up this idea that the treaty is a partnership and therefore everything in New Zealand becomes about your identity and which side of the partnership you're on. How do you govern three waters? Is there a separate Māori Health Authority? Is there going to be different consultation rights under the Resource Management Act? Now, I think the National Party would say, oh, but we got rid of all those things. My point is that until we remove the underlying idea that our treaty is a partnership between races and we each have a different role in our society based on our background, those policies will all be back in the stroke of a pen. This is about a big and, I admit, difficult debate about whether our treaty gives us equal rights or a role in a partnership where we're defined by identity. And that's the kind of thing that ACT is here for. Other parties often aren't.
Would you accept that as it stands right now here this morning, it's dead post the first reading?
No, because the other thing I know about other parties is that they're very responsive to public opinion, and they may see that this debate is far more worthwhile and far more constructive than anything that they've seen before. And I say to Chris Luxon every now and then, look, you're always welcome to get back aboard the wagon if you'd like to. So that may happen. I also just make the point that if I'm completely wrong and it never gets past the first reading, all that happens is that we produce the idea that each New Zealander has the right to have a say about their constitutional future, and it's an equal right. It's not something that is the preserve of the courts, the Waitangi Tribunal, the academics, the media, the bureaucracy. Then we've actually achieved something. And in the past, you look at euthanasia, for example, the first bill was put up in 1995, got shot down in flames. No one thought it would ever go anywhere. 24 years later, it became a law. So, you know, even if this bill doesn't go all the way, the fact that people are so opposed to it, even just having the discussion tells you we need to have that discussion.
That's the thing that worries me most, the people that they won't even talk about. Having said that, when you say what you just said, is it dead in the sense that I see you running this in 26? Surely this is what this is about, ultimately.
Well, we'll see where this debate gets to, but one thing that we certainly won't be giving up on is the idea that each New Zealander is born free and equal with the same basic respect and dignity due to them. The idea that some people get to say we're in partnership with the Crown or we're tangata whenua and you're tangata tiriti. You know, my ultimate challenge to people who oppose this bill is how is this world that you want supposed to work, and where in the world has dividing people up by their background been a success for any society anywhere? You know, in many ways, I'd much rather not be having this debate and talk about regulation and education and balancing the budget and how to make healthcare work with an ageing population. Love to talk about all that, but I put it to people that it's going to be all the harder to overcome those challenges when our underlying constitutional setting is that we have a different role in society based on things that happened 200 years before we were even born.
Appreciate your time, David Seymour, the ACT Party leader.